Hello, I'm Walter Still, blessed to serve as the interim associate pastor of St. John's Lutheran Church in Des Moines, Iowa. It is a blessing to be able to share this reflection connection with you today. I'm using a reflection of Bishop Herbert Chillstrom, the first presiding bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, who is now a part of God's kingdom after his death, and who's left a wonderful legacy of ministry. He wrote a devotional with his wife called Every Morning New. It was given to me by some dear friends. I wanted to share one of the devotions from it with you today. It is based upon a reading from the book of Matthew, the 9th chapter, verses 16 and 17. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old cloak, for the patch pulls away from the cloak, and a worse tear is made. Neither is new wine put into old wineskins, otherwise the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, and so both are preserved. Bishop Chillstrom wrote, "Our favorite walking path with our dog Jonah is in a meadow 2 blocks from our house. Along the path, we pass a number of young oak trees. One distinguishing characteristic of an oak is that it holds on to its leaves in the fall, while neighboring varieties shed theirs. In fact, it holds on all winter, even in the raging snowstorm. I asked Jim Gilbert, Minnesota's most well-known naturalist, why this happens. Jim says it's a mystery. No one knows. What we do know is that as spring advances, the leaves begin to fall. No matter how fiercely they cling to the branch, new growth forces them to let go and finally fall to the ground. These oaks remind me of our tendency as Christians to cling to old habits and familiar way of doing things long after we should have shed them. Change is challenging. It means adopting new habits, learning new procedures, getting used to change. It's never easy, of course, but new growth demands that we accept change. To illustrate this point, Jesus took an example from everyday Palestinian life. His listeners knew about winemaking. They understood that wine expands when it ferments. Everyone knows, Jesus observed, that new wine must be preserved in fresh, new, elastic wineskins. Putting it into a dry, rigid skin would burst the skin, and the precious wine would be lost. Today may be a good day to make an assessment of our lives. What old habits need to be dropped so that new life can grow? What familiar and comfortable ways of doing things are keeping us from experiencing an exciting new aspect of the Christian life? What dry leaves are keeping us from knowing God's grace in a new way? Are we so anchored in the winter of our past that we miss some of the springtime excitement of God's grace? In this time, as many of us are thinking about how life will be when this pandemic gets a little bit better, we wonder what will be the new things that we will experience, and what things of the past will we decide we no longer wish to do. I think that has been an experience of God's people since the very beginning of time. And as we face it, God, our friend, will continue to help to lead us through this venture into the new springtime of Easter that we continue to celebrate. May God bless you this day and every day. Amen.